Well, the Western diplomacy beyond Europe initially was conducted at a leisurely pace, given the vastly greater distances and times required for communication. For non European countries such as the United States, and this was unavoidable reality, but for the European great powers it was a novelty. Fortunately, the dispatch of far flung legations developed almost simultaneously with advances in transportation of communications, which made frequent contact possible. The railway and the telegraph, the steamship, and undersea cable sped the transmittal of instructions and information. Although the days of Robert Stewart, Viscount Castlereagh, who as British Foreign Secretary negotiated for months at Congress of Vienna, almost without communication with cabinet in London, were over, the ambassador's role was more changed than reduced. Lacking instructions and fearing mistakes, earlier emissaries had often done nothing. Similarly, the capitals often felt poorly informed about developments of interest to them. At the dawn of the 19th century, US President Thomas Jefferson famously instructed his Secretary of State, "We have heard nothing from our ambassador in Spain for 2 years. If we do not hear from him this year, let us write him a letter." Improvements in technology now made referral to the capital possible and ensured that capitals heard from their envoys abroad, even in the most distant places, on a more frequent and timely basis. Cabinets consulted the ambassadors as their man on the spot, who knew and understood the local conditions, politics, and leaders. Speedier communication, more involvement in the commercial diplomacy as trade became crucial for the prosperity, especially the advent of typewriters and the other machines which led on to the technology, and the diplomatic reports became very frequent and very abrupt. Yet diplomacy remained a relatively gilded and leisurely profession, on that what the British author Harold Nicolson was able to take up shortly before World War I. In order to give himself time to write books, it also remained in Washington D.C. by the beginning of 21st century, and the number of missions had increased more than 12-fold. Diplomats were gentlemen who knew each other and shared a similar education, ideology, and culture. They saw themselves as an elite and carefully upheld the fiction that they still were personal envoys of one monarch to another.